A very pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone listening to us, wherever you're located and whatever your time zone is. Welcome to our Chronicles, and this is Rita Gadi. Our world does not necessarily yield to the religious. Often, we have to search for what is of the Spirit. Even in the underside of churches, we need to look, because the public and all of their interests are either focused on other distractions. And many of us do not have a genuine religious thinking. But religion only requires love. Religion touches us at the place where faith blends with the divine. Religion should be totally human, even inseparable from our lives, inseparable from being truly human. So it is that I speak of this religion today as we celebrate the journey of Pope Francis to the eternal happiness and rest where he will spend immortality with God and speak to God on our behalf. If at all you could hear somewhere the sounds that are going on at the Vatican, we're actually tuned in right now. But we want to discuss exactly what this celebration of Pope Francis is. Our 266th Pope, the ruler of the Catholic Church, who has called us in many instances to be humble, to be compassionate, to be caring for those especially who are marginalized. And so we actually begin, or the Catholic Church actually calls for what we now know as the conclave. It will begin 15 to 20 days after the Pope lies already in his burial ground, which is at the Saint Mary Maggiore Church, which is about 5 kilometers away from the Vatican. This is the first time, as a matter of fact, that a pope is being buried outside of the Vatican. This has not happened in about a century. But as I mentioned earlier, we will be having the conclave. The conclave is the meeting of the cardinals. It's a conclave of cardinals, and this will start the proceedings only after the cardinals have all arrived and are present now at the Vatican. Pope Francis, as we all know, and we're very much aware of this, passed away in the morning of April 21st, 2025. Therefore, the 15-day mark actually will end in May 7th. Not every cardinal can vote in the conclave. Those who are actually coming in, or as the next pope would be coming in, must be younger than 80 years old, as they say. And you have now actually 252 cardinals alive and existing, and about 135 actually 135 others as cardinal electors, and they are all eligible to vote. So what will happen is we will have something like 125,108 who were appointed by Pope Francis himself out of this 250 cardinals today. 135,000 were actually appointed by Pope Francis. Of the 135 cardinal electors, Europe has the largest number. Europe has 53, of which Italy has 17, Spain has 5, and Portugal has 4. After Europe, we have Asia and Oceania with the second largest number of the electors. Asia and Oceania with 23. I'm sorry, Asia with 23 and Oceania with 4. The third largest are those coming from North and Central America with 21 electors. The United States comes fourth with 10 electors, because to be elected Pope, one will have to obtain something like 2/3 of the 135 electors, or 90 to be elected, 90 votes to be elected. We have our own cardinal there, Cardinal Luis Tagle of the Philippines, who's considered to be one of the leading contenders for the papacy. He actually has at present, we understand, according to their statistics, something like 65 electors who favor him. But he will still need something like 23 more to have 90 electors complete the vote for the next vote. So we will have to find out how many rounds of votings they would have, because normally it is unlikely that the voting would end after the first round. But what is most important is that those coming from Spain, Latin America, the United States, and Asia, and all of this will take some time before they can get together. So we will wait for this, and normally you would have the smoke coming out of the Vatican from the chimney. If it's black, then they do not have an elected Pope yet. If it's white, then they have already achieved 90 votes. 90 electors have already voted for the new Pope. Actually, the Vatican has confirmed the attendance of 130 foreign delegations. I'm talking none of those who attended. If you watched your television screens or whatever station you're watching doing live coverage of what's happening at the Vatican now, they were showing some of those dignitaries, heads of state, presidents, and so forth. So far, about 130 foreign delegations have attended, 50 heads of state, and about 10 reigning monarchs. That was as of yesterday. So some may have arrived after yesterday, which is today actually, which is the day of the funeral. So I just want to name all of this. So attending while we are witnessing on live television the celebrated mass at the Vatican Square, St. Peter's Square, in front of the Vatican. So I'd like to run down the names of those who attended, these foreign delegates, heads of state, and reigning monarchs. From the Americas, from Argentina, President, I hope I pronounced their names well, President Javier Milori. From Brazil, President Luis Ignacio da Silva and his wife, Yanya. From the Honduras, we have President Xiomara Castro. From the United Nations, of course, the Secretary General Antonio Guterres. From Europe, we have from Austria, Chancellor Christian Stocker. From Belgium, King Philip and Queen Mathilde. Belgian Prime Minister also is attending, Bart de Wever. And from Croatia, we have President Zoran Milošević and Prime Minister Andrej, Plenković. As I said, you must pardon my pronunciation. From the Czech Republic, we have Prime Minister Petr Fiala. From Denmark, Queen Mary. From Estonia, President Alan Kazis. From the European Union, we have the European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and the European Council President Antonio Costa. From Finland, President Alexander Stubb. From France, we have President Emmanuel Macron. Germany, President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, and the outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and the incoming Chancellor Merk Stracher. From Greece, we have Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Hungary, President Thomas Sulyok and Prime Minister Viktor Orban. From Ireland, we have President Michael Higgins and his wife Sabina, together with the Prime Minister Michael Martin. From Kosovo, we have President Vjosa Osmani. From Latvia, President Edgar Trinkavia. And from Lithuania, we have President Gitanis Nausėda. And from Moldova, we have President Maria Sandu. From let me have all of this all together. From Monaco, we have we have Prince Albert II and his wife Princess Charlene. From the Netherlands, we have Prime Minister Dick Eckhart and Foreign Minister Kaspar Velokam. From North Macedonia, we have President Gordana Siljaneska Davut. From Norway, we have Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit. And of course, their Prime Minister Esren Barth Eide. From Poland, we have President Anorze Duda and his wife. From Portugal, we have President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa and Prime Minister Luis Montenegro. From Romania, we have Interim President Ilai Borohan. From Russia, we have the Culture Minister Olga Lyubinova. I want to break off a little here, and if you have watched the the Russian Orthodox commemoration of Easter, then you had there Vladimir Putin actually part of the celebration that they had for the Easter rites. From Slovakia, we have President Peter Pellegrini. Slovenia, we have President Natas Piek Musa and Prime Minister Robert Golob. From Spain, we have King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia. From Sweden, we have King Carl XVI and wife Queen Sylvia, and the Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson. From Ukraine, we have, I think you saw it on television, the camera panned him. Of course, we have President Zelensky and his wife, Elena Zelensky. From the United Kingdom, we have Prince William representing the head there, their king, King Charles III, and the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. From the Middle East, we have from Israel, Yaron Seideman, and he's the ambassador to the Holy See. From Africa, we have from Cape Verde, we have President Jose Maria Neves. From Central African Republic, we have President Faustin Arana Tudera. From the Dominican Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, we have President Felix Tshisekedi. From Gabon, we have President Brice Clotaire Nusogema. From Asia, we have from India, President Drupadi Murmu, and from the Philippines, one of the largest Catholic countries here in Asia, President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. and his First Lady, Liza Araneta Marcos. So there you have it, the lineup of all those dignitaries that are there attending to the funeral rites for Pope Francis. As we've said, the celebration of Pope Francis to his immortal rest and happiness. Actually, we have 90 bishops, Catholic bishops. No, I'm sorry. We have 90 million Catholic bishops. And from Brazil, we have 148 million. In Argentina, we have 3 million. And I'm sorry, I'm confusing my notes. I'm referring to the population of Catholics in this country. So in the Philippines, we have 90 million, approximately 90 million Catholics. In Brazil, we have 140 million Catholics. In Argentina, we have 31 million Catholics. In Mexico, 101 million. So there we have it. We have actually, remember that Pope Francis visited us from January 15 to 19th in the year 2015. He also visited Tacloban City, and we had the message which was broadcast from Mayor Alfred Romualdez thanking the visit of Pope Francis to his city shortly after Haiyan, or that storm surge, hit the city and practically destroyed the city to ground zero, as they would describe it. It took also a lot of sacrifice for the Pope and many other hindrances, but he braved it all and insisted that he would fly to Tacloban and that he would celebrate the Mass there for Tacloban, leaving the message both of hope, of continuous faith, of compassion, and of taking care for each other, especially in the moment when we fear most the devastation of natural disasters. So there you have it. As the mayor himself has mentioned, it was an honor for the Pope to have visited Tacloban City. As I've said, there were quite a number of hindrances. Remember how it was that politically Tacloban is outside the radar as far as the national government is concerned. And there were many attempts to prevent the Pope actually from going to Tacloban City. There was this intent of, remember Senator Lacson announcing that he has called on Japan to start the construction of the airport in Tacloban City at the time when Pope Francis was already scheduled to come and to arrive. And then you also had several other hindrances, that the weather was bad and that it was being forecast another typhoon would be arriving together with the Pope and so forth. But nonetheless, as I've said, the Pope braved all of this and decided that he really insisted on visiting Tacloban City, especially after the disaster hit that city and reduced it to ground zero. But just as a sideline story, we must also take note of the fact that the I don't know how you would call it, the chief of staff of Pope Francis was a graduate of Georgetown University, and the mayor of Tacloban City, Mayor Alfred Romualdez, was also a graduate of Georgetown University, and that somehow they met in the university. So when the chief of staff of Pope Francis went to Tacloban to check on the arrivals, the airport, wherever the billeting, etc., and all of that, and met with Mayor Alfred, and they had some kind of a reunion because they were together in Georgetown University. So there you have it. It's a Jesuit university. And so in spite of all the hindrances, I told you God has a way of waking destiny, so that the Pope really, as he insisted, would fly to Tacloban, and there you have his own chief of staff, a classmate or a schoolmate of the mayor of Tacloban City, Mayor Alfred Romualdez. Anyway, you had there the visit of the Pope immediately after Haiyan, one of the most devastating storm surges to hit any country at any one time. So that is really preserved in our history as far as natural disasters is concerned, are concerned. And as the mayor has said, it is with great reverence and honor and with deep remembrances, and of course, with their heartfelt gratitude to Pope Francis for the lessons that he has shared with them, especially compassion, assistance, and care for the marginalized, and the most important of it all, humility and integrity in public service. So all of this were the lessons that were obtained and were part of the remembrance that the Tacloban City has as far as Pope Francis' visit is concerned to that city. That was also because of the fact that we had the recent COVID pandemic, and there was also something which was quite disastrous for many communities. The whole world, as a matter of fact, prayed and how would you call it, abstained from contact from one another. They were in quarantine in many instances. And all of this, we have to quote what the Pope said during times like this. He quoted a passage from the Gospel, from Jesus' own words. "Why are you afraid? I am here." So we have to remember that, because that was also repeated by Pope Francis. Remember this as part of the many lessons that we have learned from him. He also mentioned in many of his homilies for leaders to reject corruption, to serve with integrity. So there you have many of this lessons and statements that he has left. Again, as we've said, we are all faithful stewards of God's mercy. So we must remember this, lessons learned. He also spoke to the youth and asked them to blend their dreams with faith. Now we go back to the ceremony that's happening right now, which are the funeral rites. The mass is still being held at St. Peter's Square. As I've said earlier, that will be a part of the funeral rites. From there, the coffin will be brought to the cathedral, the Basilica of St. Mary Major, Mayore, as they would call it, Santa Maria Maiore, the Basilica of Santa Maria Maiore. After the burial, we will look at this in many ways, because then the concentration would be the Sistine Chapel, where we will have the College of Cardinals that will be gathering after this rites within 15 to 20 days, and they will be held in conclave to elect the 267th successor of Saint Peter. Actually, you could Google this if you want to see the lineage of popes from the time of Saint Peter, from the 33rd century, as I said, the year that changed the world, up to Pope Francis, and then all the way as the College of Cardinals are now to elect the 267th Pope in the unbroken line of papal lineage from Saint Peter. Again, we will mention that there will be 3 Filipino cardinals that will be part of the electors as they are called. We have Cardinal Jose Advincula, Cardinal Pablo Virgilio David, and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. The 3 Filipino cardinals who will be part of the College of Cardinals that will be electing our next Pope. And that will be the center of our attention now as we look at the Sistine Chapel chimney. As I mentioned earlier, if it's a black smoke, then it still will be a second round of voting until they're able to finally come with 19 votes for the new Holy Father. So I'd like to round up our short chronicles this afternoon to give way to the continuing rituals that are occurring at St. Peter's Square for the final rest and final journey of Pope Francis towards eternity. I'd like to read one of my poems, which I have in a way shortened in many ways the 9 liturgical hours, and the last of this before sunset. We call this the Vespers. So I'd like to read this by way of closing our program this evening. Receive my resume, O Lord, when the sun sets, undoing all that I have done today. Accept what is yours first, completed with the urgency of love. And gently into the landscape of the fading day, O Lord, the way the trees fold their shadows in the dark, calming the restless heart, receive all that belongs to you, O Lord, that I have done this day according to your will. And so I thank you all for having joined me in this Chronicles, continuing the rituals for the final resting place and the final burial of our Holy Father Francis. Thank you for having joined me. This is Rita Gadi for your Chronicles.